Okay, we've got to sync up the audio now, so we'll do. Do you want to do the clap with me on 3?
On 3.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, boom. Welcome to another episode of the Boogie podcast, and also the Boogie kind of video podcast, which is a new part happening.
So fun.
Yeah, loving it.
Hi.
Here with Jeff Hubbard.
Hi.
You all know him. He's a good guy.
Who's that guy?
And I'm really happy to see ya.
Yeah, I'm happy you're live after yesterday's kind of legendary Arrowverse into this gnarly head smack with the reef. And so if you all haven't seen, you probably will have seen by the time this podcast comes out, Josh's gnarly encounter with the reef at El Gringo on his Gath helmet, and just he's happy to be alive and healthy. And I think that brings us to one of our first questions.
It kind of is. How do you stay healthy and bodyboarding into? How old are you now, by the way?
43.
43.
Wow. That's
this
intense.
guy.
That's cool.
What are you doing to stay at the level you're at?
I think with bodyboarding, it's an incredibly it's an intense sport for your body, because especially if you're competing on a really high level, you're landing big moves, you're charging big waves. And I mean, even if you're surfing on just an average day-to-day basis, I think you want to be in somewhat decent shape so you can paddle around and catch waves and enjoy yourself. And so even if you weren't doing giant moves and just having fun in the beach break, going out just in catching waves, you still have to be in shape. You can't be just a couch potato or lush. You have to you have to have some sort of fitness level of some sort, and so I think that's what in bodyboarding itself is fitness. That's what's great about it. It's people can use it when they get to be a little older as a great tool for fitness to stay in shape. They paddle around and have fun. They get in the water, and it's that great experience outdoors. You're doing some activity to get your blood flowing and use all your muscles. So it's those people that are out there just getting in the water every day. It's a great form of fitness. For me, trying to stay fit to ride at a high level, it means I have to really watch what I eat. I can't just eat anything every day. I can't just sit home and eat cookies, which I love, or just have a burger every meal.
Yeah.
You can't really do that. Those things are tasty and I love them, and in moderation they're fine. But you kind of just have to watch what you're eating. I make sure I eat my veggies. Eat your veggies, eat your fruits. Drink lots of water. Just basic stuff. It's like I'm trying to eat organic when you can. And you can't eat it all the time. And a lot of people can't afford it, but if you can eat it, try and eat it when you can, and try and eat as healthy as possible. That's what you do. That's like the first little steps, and that does enough for me at probably the eating level. And I think fitness-wise, I'm trying to keep in the water as much as I can. I've been able to get my daughter's turned 2, so we have a little bit of a daycare set up now, so I can get in the water a few hours a day if there's waves. On most of the weekdays. Weekends I probably reserve for families most of the time, because we're both offs. But for daily, I'm in. If there's some waves, I'm trying to get in the water 5 days a week, unless my workload for Hubbard's is just really, really heavy. But so that helps a lot. That helps with fitness. I also, I really try and stretch and do a lot of stretching to stay limber and fit, and a lot of core work. You do a lot of sit-ups and stretches that really keep your core strong, so that when you are surfing and doing big moves, you are able to handle them. So that's one thing. And staying, I guess, on the flip side of that, you can surf every day, but if you're I find myself that I'll binge surf. Sometimes in wintertime, I'm more of a binge surfer. I'll surf for a long time, 1 day or 2 days, and then I won't surf for 3 days. The waves aren't quite as good, or they're not that good. I'll take time to recover. As
you're talking about a pipe swell.
A pipe swell.
It lands on the North Shore,
exactly.
And you literally are at the beach from before sun up, and you'll stay there as long as it takes.
I can. Yeah, and a good, maybe even you'll do that if a few days and something like that. Yeah, when it's on, or you go to Maui. I went to Maui for 8 hours. You just push yourself, get your quota, your fill of your waves, and your satisfaction and your stoke, and then that stoke lasts a little longer these days. Yeah. So that's nice, and so I can kind of relax and let your body recover. As the older you get, you do need more recovery time. It's just nature. Yeah. There's not as much stuff as you do. I mean, even the athletes in the world, the older they get, they need little time to recover. There's tricks you can do. You make sure you eat your protein, your ice baths, or Wim Hof breathing, all these crazy techniques that I don't participate in as just at the moment. I probably should if you're like a millionaire, you fully could really gear yourself to do this. But since I'm like a working dad, I would probably there's like every other guy, most other humans out there. Your time and your money is important to your family, so you can just make sure I just take care of my body the best I possibly can at the times I can. And I'm pretty active with my daughters, and my daughter Jackie in the afternoon, I'll take her to this pool or swimming or something. So I'm always get a little extra calorie burn at some point during the day. So it's that helps make sure I can eat a little bit more relaxed of what I want to eat. Make sure you have your salads. And
so there's no specific dietary regime that you have today that's strict. It's just more what you're kind of saying is it's balanced. I mean, are you a vegetarian, for example?
I'm not a vegetarian. I mean, I love meat. I mean, but I don't eat meat. I try not to eat meat every day. I don't want to eat meat. It's not like the best. I like it. It tastes good, but it's not the best thing for the environment. That's like the first thing I feel like.
Totally.
And it's if there's probably and some types aren't so healthy. So you just gotta you take it in moderation. Like alcohol. Hey, who doesn't love a good beer? Who doesn't love a little drink now and then? So
guilty.
Guilty. I'm sorry. So, but I don't drink every day. Maybe I'll have a drink once a week if on a good week.
But sometimes, it's a full bender when he has one. It's
I
not
just
one
get nuts. No, it's not. Again, and it comes down to just like, hey, I want to surf. I'm busy with my daughter. I can't really go out and just with the boys and have drinks. That's just not in the cards these days. So
but it sets you back quite a lot too. I know. For my own behaviour, like when I get back to Oz and I see my mates, it's hard not to have a few beers.
For sure.
When you're flying through town, you end up having more than what you should have, but it really does slow you down.
It does slow you down the next day.
Like 3 beers.
Like we said, the older you get, hey, if you're 20, you're knocking them back and just going out and just doing whatever, your body just can simply kind of recover a little bit better. It's still weeding through those things. But if you're a little older, I mean, hey, like I said, I'm 43, so my... you get a 2-beer hangover. So I totally avoid that. I don't drink very often.
With the exercise and fitness, like what you're also kind of saying is that it seems pretty balanced, but I want to get a really clear picture of your regime, because I remember once we were on a call, maybe last year or the year before, and we're on this group call on Skype, and I think it's a few of the riders for some reason, and then Jeff kept on going on mute. And when he come back, there's all this heavy breathing happening, and we're just like, "What the hell is he doing?" And first of all, you're on a stationary bike, and I think the first part of the call you're on the bike, and then you come back and you're like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I was just finishing a yoga session." So what does maybe take a moment to think about your optimal day of being Jeff Hubbard, and what does the day look like from the morning to the afternoon in terms of fitness? Maybe you have a decent surf in the middle. It's not one of your full days, 8 hours at pipe, but just one of those average days where you'd have a really balanced day.
My average day, honestly, it's I wake up. How
early are you waking up?
Hey, if I wake up at 6:30, that's great. If I wake, sometimes it's between 6 and 7.
Okay.
I'm probably a 6 and 7 guy. Get up. Hey, if I can get up a little earlier than my daughter, and I can go down and have a really good stretch before she wakes up, that's great. Sometimes she's up. We all get up at the same time, and I'll go down and stretch with her and kind of it's a little slower process, so I'll take a little longer stretching. Not that I'm not getting as much into it, but I'll still get a stretch in. And then
hold on before you go beyond. Like with this stretching, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Just like kind of a short yoga stint. I would say. You just run through your muscles, just getting them loose and limber, and then you kind of go into a little bit of a core workout, and you end up with a little bit more stretching at the end. And that's kind of how you start off slow, work up until you get your core workout in, and then you kind of cool down. I mean, it's very simple. It sounds real simple.
How much time are you taking?
I'm taking a half hour.
Half hour?
It's if a half hour, an intense half hour, or I could take an hour just piecing it all together, doing other little things with my daughter,
sure. If I'm entertaining her along the way and stuff.
I'm not really getting into it. And say if there's waves during the day, so then I'll try and get out the door, drop my daughter off at daycare.
Wait, you've moved beyond. the core workout aspect, what are you doing there? Is it like 100 sit-ups? Is it
no, it's just
planks?
it's a combination. So
okay.
I'll do some sit-ups.
What are some of the exercises? Yeah.
It's hard to describe, but it's a combination of like some crunches, some sit-ups, some ab moves, some just leg lifts.
Yeah, okay.
Just a little combination of those
okay.
those things, because you want to work different areas of your core. You don't want to just be stagnant.
Yeah.
And, sometimes if my daughter's up, I'm doing sit-ups with her on my chest.
Yeah.
Just like, so and sit-ups. Hey, if I can get sit-ups in, I'm psyched.
Okay.
Like it's not every day I'm able to get them in. Like because I'm just busy. Because I'm dad.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
just the way it goes.
Sure.
In an optimal word, you get a nice stretch in, then you go surf. So I'll drop off my daughter. I'll gone surfing.
Yeah.
Come back and I'll do some work, or if I've gone up early enough, I've done some work beforehand.
Yep.
And if if there's no waves, I'll do some work then.
Yep.
I'll do some usual Hubbard stuff, and then I will I'll either if there's no waves, I'll probably just like kind of. Maybe if I'm lucky, I get in a nap.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If I'm lucky, I'll get in a quick nap before I have to pick up my daughter.
How long a nap are we talking?
It's never more than an hour really, but it's nice to just refresh yourself so you're just like centered for your family. You're not tired because bodyboarding's tiring, and also being dad's tiring. You add those two together.
Yeah.
For me, and I want to make sure I'm just doing
good at both.
Yeah, good at both.
Yeah.
So I come up and can make sure I'm attentive to my family's needs, and I'm not like dragging. Hey, I'm gonna go to bed. See ya.
Yeah.
Early, so
that's
I can,
not cool dad status.
No, you want to be engaged with your family's activities. So that's one thing make sure I'll do. I mean, even if it means I don't have to surf as long, I'll come home and try and punch in a little nap if I can. It's not every day, but I'm stoked if that's a good day. So, and then I'll pick up my daughter and we'll go do something of some sort. Out playing outside, running around, going on biking with her, or taking her on the waves with the inflatable bodyboard, the tandem one. So they'll take her out.
I think everyone should have one of those in their quiver, huh?
They should. Yeah. I mean, just for the fact if you have a family member, you can go out with them. If you have a girlfriend, you can take them out and ride waves with them. And that's what makes it, so fun. And the smaller the waves, the better, because it's so floaty and it rides. So you're not looking for big waves. It's not like that's what's so great. Oh, it's pumping out there. Well, that's not what you're going to use when it's pumping. You're not.
Or you can take JOB out. But we're going to come back to the JOB stuff later on. But so that's cool. So that we're getting towards the end of your day. Like, is there any exercise in that day if you don't bodyboard, for example?
Yeah.
Is there anything you do if you don't?
Yeah.
Bodyboard?
If I'm not bodyboarding and I don't have if I didn't have a heavy day of work, Hubbard's workload, I'll definitely hit a yoga session or the gym. That's great. I love it. I can't go surf. I'll just go hit that, and that'll be really, really cool.
So you go to like a local gym, or do you have your own?
There's a local gym.
Okay.
There's a local gym. I can go and take a class and take. They offer these things. It's mostly we have a family pass at this one gym where we take our daughter to the pool. It's like really cool. And
cool.
So I'll do that.
And what do you usually do at the gym? Are you doing
just bicycle? I'll do bicycle and I don't do any weights. I'll do bicycle and maybe a circle session and then a yoga class.
What's a circle session?
Oh, just like I'm kind of making that on my own, but like running through just like push-ups, pull-ups, like crunches, like kind of something there's
body
just
weight,
body
though,
weight.
essentially.
Yeah, body weight.
Okay, all right. Do you have do you count your a thing like a pull-up? It's a pretty dynamic and measurable exercise. Do you have a number that you're trying to get to in each
I'll do
round?
reps. I'll kind of do some reps. You do like a build-up of 3. And it depends how you're feeling that day. Maybe you'll do 10, then 5, then 3.
Yeah.
Just something like that.
Because 10's hard.
10's hard. Yeah. So you do 10, and then you do 5, and then 3, and you do that, and you do your you do a repetition of 5 different types of exercises in that rotation, in with those numbers, and you're pretty like whoa.
Three repetitions of that circle, or 4?
Exactly.
Or?
3. Yeah, usually 3.
Okay.
I'll go for 3, and maybe 4 if I just do one of the last, and if I have time. But mostly 3.
Okay.
It's good.
So that's the exercise on a non-bodyboarding day, and then I'm guessing into the evening, your dad and maybe a little bit of hub boards into the evening.
Exactly. Yeah.
And husband, I should say.
Husband.
As well.
Yeah. Husband works in there, and then try not. trying not to do too much stuff. I can start to do some emails again if my daughter goes to sleep.
Yeah.
If I'm just sitting there watching TV with my wife, I'll start to do some emails.
Clicking away on the side, yeah.
Yeah, just because Asia and Australia are waking up.
Yeah.
So I can get punched through some emails right
Have a
then.
chat there.
Yeah, have a chat with them.
Okay, so and then that's your kind of average day in the life of Jeff Hubbard. Seems busy. Do you read? Do you ever get any chance for that kind of nourishment of the mind?
Gosh, no. I'm just doing podcasts if I can on the drives.
Oh, okay. So you're listening.
Yeah,
though.
I'll do some listening. That's all the nourishment I get just because I'm just kind of busy. I'd love it. I'd love a little bit of nourishment because it does feed the soul and it just it stimulates your mind.
Yeah.
So it really gets you thinking. So I enjoy that.
What are you listening to? Is there a few podcasts that you go to?
Yeah, just the small business
one. Other than Boogie?
Yeah, Boogie and small business. Yeah, Boogie. The small business podcast. That's something that keeps your brain thinking about business and what you're doing.
Cool.
That's pretty fun.
We spoke about this in the last podcast
last one.
we did, where you were talking about your degree, or you did like an MBA, right?
Yeah, I got my master's in business.
And so those business podcasts, that keeps you kind of nourishing towards what you're doing with your work,
and what's relevant, what other business owners are doing. So it's pretty nice.
What's let's get to. Well, I don't want to jump off this quickly. On a day, I'll come back to that because I have a question about like anything interesting you've learnt lately through one of these things, but we'll hold that for after. But on your big days, like when you go to Maui for this, and that's the latest clip that you dropped, which is epic. What do you do in that day? Because is there a method to keep your energy levels high throughout that day?
You know what? So that was a special day because I kind of spent a lot of money to fly over. Well, $260. It's not a lot.
It's a lot for a day, though.
It's a lot for a day trip, and without you're just going over to surf with your friend.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going over to surf with my friend Jacob.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. So I was able to, you wake up a little earlier. You're gonna wake up early to get in this, the pump swell's pumping. So, but you do wake up and stretch because you want to make sure you're limber, and you just try and like have as much nourishment the night before, so you have some fuel in, and then you're just kind of stuffing yourself with some like nutrient-rich foods. You don't want to be too full, and then you go surf, and then you just stay out. I kind of just stayed out that day.
Yeah.
Pipe swell, you probably want to come in. If you're at Pipe or somewhere else where you can access the beach easy, you come in and have another snack. Yeah. And then water and go back out, because water is the main thing. Yeah. Dehydration, and that's what keeps that's what chew up a lot of your energy and your drive out there. Yeah. And it depends how crowded the session is. I mean, you can't do an 8-hour session if there's not many guys out. But if it's crowded and it's not so many waves.
Yeah. You're pretty relaxed.
You're relaxed, so you're not exerting yourself every like full on. It's it's more like a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
To put it in perspective.
Totally.
And then I'll surf, and then I'll just cool down. Then I'm done. Once I'm done my surfing, it's like, you're done. And then the next day if you don't surf, you still stretch because you want to stretch yourself out and let the recovery process begin if you're pretty tired and wounded. Yeah, that's what you'd like to do. If the waves are still bumping, you're going back out. I had that this winter. I just kind of pushed myself into oblivion for a couple days. Do you find on these long sessions that you're more prone to injury, or is there a risk factor now in your age where that fatigue that can set in throughout a long day of surfing, is that when you're more prone to injury, or do you think it doesn't really matter? I think it really doesn't matter, because it's more like injuries happen when you least expect it and you're least prepared. Yeah. So if you're conscious of it, it's not going to happen. Yeah. Less likely to happen. Yeah, obviously, things can happen, but injuries usually happen on the smallest, weirdest days. You don't care. You're just not focused. Don't have that 100% focus, and you just kind of let it go for a split second and you get injured. That's the worst. Yeah. So you always, sometimes not surfing on when it's small when it's like, you surf when it's small, but as long as you're focused about it, it's good. Like what you're going out there to do. Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. I think we've got a good outline now. That was one of the questions that came through Instagram. Thanks everyone who bothered to send a message in, and for Jeff. It was really cool to see. That was the biggest question. I think a lot of the guys listening are in that kind of, probably in your age and my age kind of bracket. So that's some of the questions I had. Because I'm 40. I'm not 40. I'm 35. You're 42, 43. 43. So we're kind of in that decade where
I do feel, I at least had a theory when I was coming into my 30s that like I need to have some good habits in my 30s. Oh, Jack Baker's about to be washed on the rocks here.
Oh no.
I had this theory that, you know, I needed to have a good regime set into my 30s. Haven't quite achieved it completely, but I'm pretty happy. Wow, Jack, I hope they can see this in the background, but Jack Baker's just negotiating the rocks there.
Really well though, actually.
Yeah.
Surprising.
But yeah, but you're pretty happy with your fitness? I mean, is there anything you'd improve if you were... What would you change if you could do one thing? You know, you said there was the millionaires who can like go and get all the
I guess I'd probably get more.
I
guess I would get more massages. Because you know you get because you do it a little tighter, and I would spend more time like more time stretching, probably even more time doing yoga or stretching. Like I could boost that. I could, you know, if I had the you know, I guess the extra time.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
All right. Well, that's good for everyone to hear. And let's pick up on the podcast thing because I want to learn a little bit about what you've learned lately. Like, is there anything you'd say in the last year from this kind of mind nourishment with the podcast about small business and whatnot? What's some of the key insights that you've had through some of that? Like when it comes to running a business like yours?
Man, it's a lot of it's that you have to keep. I mean, stuff. It's basic knowledge. A lot of the time, it's just nice to be reinforced. Like, keep learning.
Yep.
One, like even like do your homework, know your numbers. Like, that's really important.
Yep.
And I think also that it's, you know, just I don't know. When you get an MBA, you get to learn a lot in that span. And when you listen to these podcasts, you get little tidbits back that you might have forgotten or you've heard before, you're just not practicing, or you just know and you just, you know, it's good reminders. So I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's, you know, it's just like little refresher courses.
Yeah.
You know, for me, and it's like, yep, I know that's what I'm doing. Good, I'm doing the right thing. You know, someone might, you know, wherever we're headed. Yeah, that's what I want. I'm doing. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in social media, I mean, I think that's still something that's being learned, and that was never taught.
No,
as far as I was self-taught. They didn't teach that in the MBA. I had to self-teach myself that through my MBA, which was, I mean, during that time, and I was pretty good at it. So I mean, it's always learning some of this new stuff that's coming out and being familiar with it, because it's, you know, it's ever changing, and the landscape it's always growing, and it's good to be able to be nimble with what's going on. So I guess that's something I've, you know, taken into account.
One thing that happened lately, which I saw, and then I think I even shared it through the Boogie Instagram, was this packaging question where you did, I think it was the air dub fins that came in the bag, the cotton bag, and that was, but not only was it removing kind of some of that non-reusable packaging, but it was also, you had a little bit of a purpose element to it where you were supporting the Breadfruit Institute.
So what's
that all about? Let's dive into that for a second.
That's one of Dave's passions. You know, he's really into breadfruit. It's, you know, it's a superfood. It could feed the world. The poundage from a breadfruit tree is, and the amount of nutrients. It's such a nutrient-dense food. It's rich. It's got protein, carbs. It's got everything you need. You can just live off that almost solely. You know, it's you know, it's really, really healthy for you, and you can cook it any type of way. You know, as a vegetable, as a starch, as a protein. You can mix it up in so many different fashions. So it's a really great tree. They're trying to plant them in Africa and plant them all around the world. I mean, the Mutiny on the Bounty, if you know, most of the people listening are old enough to know that old story, and that was all about breadfruit. You know, they're taking breadfruit from the Caribbean and bringing it to the Polynesia, or vice versa, bringing it from Polynesia to the Caribbean because it was so wealthy, such a good fruit to have. That's why, you know, they're...
And the mutiny happened around breadfruit?
Yeah, around breadfruit.
Wow.
You know, because, you know, whatever it was, that's on the ship.
Yeah, right.
You know, so it's really, you know, there's a lot of, you know, richness. The cultures that have it, you know, they prize these possessions. These trees are, you know, real sacred. They plant them when everyone has a first, you know, baby that's born. They plant the ulu tree with the placenta or the umbilical cord.
Oh, really?
Like
okay.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot of things in the Polynesian culture, and I'm sure all the other cultures in the Caribbean have planted them, and you know, they're all over some of the parts of Africa, I think,
Yeah.
as well. Now they're trying to propagate more plants in Africa
Yeah.
to feed all the people there.
Radical.
And it's radical. So anyhow,
Yeah.
that's kind of the purpose behind it. And Dave's so passionate about it. So we give a 2% profit back to the Bread Food Institute.
Yeah.
And it's a cool logo. Anyhow, the logo looks great
It
on the
does look
bag,
rad, yeah.
and it's nice to support something that it's good for the world, and you're trying to just give back to something.
Yep.
And it's something that's not very prevalent. Heard about.
Yeah.
No one really. And so it's, hey, if there's all these other billionaires giving to other things, let's give to something that might actually need
Yeah.
$1,000 every couple of years.
Exactly,
you
yeah,
know?
sure.
So hey, every couple of years, if we can give them $1,000 or something, hey,
Great.
geez, that's insane.
I think I was only lucky enough to try breadfruit when I was in Tahiti many, many years ago. I've never really seen it anywhere else. Like, I probably could have hunted it down on Oahu though, right?
Yeah, if you know where to go, you can probably hunt it down. And it is, some of them it's seasonal. There is some places on Oahu where it does propagate, grow year round.
Okay.
And ripen. So that's good to know.
Okay, great.
But yeah, we'll have to, next time you're in Hawaii, I'll have Dave cook you up a storm.
Deal.
Breadfruit. It's great.
But I mean, it was just a really cool thing because I haven't seen a lot of this kind of profit for purpose in bodyboarding yet.
Yeah, no.
It's been quite good even in the other surf, in the broader surf category. There's a lot of brands doing these types of partnerships, whether it's for plastic pollution or...
Yes.
Yours was very unique to actually support the Breadfruit Institute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about as, like, your brother's a...
Unique character, so it's like...
Unique is a good word, but he's even better than unique. He's like an awesomely creative and kind of out-of-the-box guy. So, and I love him for that. And I just think it's classic Dave Hubbard.
It is.
That it's a Breadfruit Institute profit for purpose.
Yep. And he volunteers at the Breadfruit Institute when he's home. So I mean, it's something he's real close to. So it's like it makes sense.
Yeah.
And with the cotton bag, we went for the 100% cotton bag because one, you can use that. It's a double purpose. That bag works for so many other things you can do. So you're not going to throw a bag away that you can use. People use it. I see it being used for backpacks or like satchels or taking things to the beach or storing things. So it's great. Yeah. And then it also cuts down on the boxes. So I mean, other fins come in boxes, which are great. Cardboard is recyclable, so that's good. But it's also takes up a lot of room in shipping. So if you have a box and you condense that down, the shipping, you're shipping so much more is so much cheaper and so much more efficient.
Yeah, cool.
So you're using less energy, you're using less oil, you're polluting the world less. I mean, there are some things that you really consider with this that are really helpful as well. Totally. And then that's stuff that just happens and you don't, on your way. It's kind of it was almost secondary when we realized that aspect. Like, this is great.
No, that's cool.
So little things like that, and we always try with Hubbard's trying to think about the environment as best we can. You're producing products that bodyboards are we try and make them last as long as possible so that they they're not disposable. These aren't disposable products. The products you want to make last as long as possible so people don't throw them away, and it gets the enjoyment factor overrides kind of any pollution that was created on the side aspect. I mean, we're humans. There's going to be waste. It's just what happens with humans. We waste things and we do stuff, and it's just the environment's never going. If we're on the planet, the environment's never going to be perfect. So we do what we can, and if we want to enjoy ourselves, well, we have to make a bodyboard or two.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the way it goes. I mean, happier people make probably a better world anyhow. Make the world better. No wars and
100%.
all that kind of fun stuff.
100%.
If all the world leaders bodyboarded, they'd probably be stoked.
That the UN bodyboarding division.
Bodyboarding division.
Let me hit pause on this for 1 second. So with this passion, this profit for purpose stuff and factoring in the environment into what you do with Hubboards, is there anything down the line that we can expect to, is there more room for you as a brand that you think you can dive into in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, you try and do it with all your products. We're releasing a Jared Houston fin, and that's gonna come in a bag.
Okay, cool.
There's less product. There's no purpose. Like we're not giving anything anything away, like back to like a charity or anything. But it is, we're just trying to like reduce our impact on the environment. And when we can, like, we see an opportunity. Okay, we're making a new product. Let's go in this aspect. And we're trying to, you try to do that with all your stuff. Like, hey, guys from China just love wrapping things in plastic, and you're like, dude, just is there a way you can just put this on cardboard and send it to us?
Yeah.
And we can make it happen. So I mean, you're always, you know, focused on when you can, trying to make the environment a better place.
Yeah. With but the other thing you are doing as well, I should add, and maybe you maybe haven't factored it into the same area of the discussion, but you know, you've got your environmental concerns, but then there's this social element as well, that companies can also kind of give back in a social sense. And I'd say that, like, you have been really active with your social engagement, and grassroots bodyboarding seems to be one of the priorities for you as a brand. Talk about the Keiki Fest, because we were chatting about it in the water the other day, and I just think would be really cool for everyone to hear about what happened literally, a week ago?
Yeah, almost a week ago.
Yeah.
You know, for the last 12 years now, I've had a free kids contest in Waimanalo in Hawaii. They had, back in the day, maybe, you know, 20, 30 years ago, they had a similar concept like the Moray Jamborees, whatever. They had these things going on at this same location, and a lot of young kids from that area grew up with them and became bodyboarders and became very good bodyboarders. And so that stopped. And so I was like, well, you know, it had been gone for quite many years, maybe 10 years. And I was like, well, my friend Chris Burkhardt was like, you should bring that back. You know, he was on Kauai, but he was like, hey, you should bring that back. And I was like, yeah, why not? I can do it. You know, you know, something I hadn't tried before. And so I got with a couple friends and we all worked together. You know, Jason Bitzer, Spencer Skipper, and another you know, local guy, Kalaya, from that area. We made it happen for the first time. And I hit up a friend of mine, Camille, and he gave me, you know, he had some money, and so he gave me, you know, $1,000 so we could run the event. And I had saved some of the money. We made T-shirts and we put on the event. And the next year I had some left over, so we had it again. And I started writing grant money just to be able to fund this event, to keep it free for the kids, because that's the main thing. And every year it's just grown. And now this last year we had over 200 entries, 200 kids at the beach, and you know, even more families. So you have a whole family, like the whole beach is just for that event now. It's like you go to the park, there's no parking, which I'd never seen before. You know, it's a huge parking lot. Now it's just full. There's a secondary parking lot, like I didn't know existed till this last year.
Because like, you had to park there.
Yeah, I mean, my wife had to park there. I was like, wow, this is nuts. I mean, we always give them free food, free entry, and tons of prizes. So I mean, there's lots to, you know, some great stuff to win, make the finals, and we give them out some free stuff during the day. So there's stuff to engage the kids and sign autographs when you can, and kind of teach them about competing. And the biggest thing is just the stoke to get them engaged in the ocean and just seeing how much fun bodyboarding is, because they're there all day at the beach, so they're with their friends in and out of the water, whether they're in the heat or not. Boogie boarding, you're playing around in that, and you see that camaraderie about at the contest or at the beach together, and how much fun they're having, and you hope that just translates through the rest of their lives, that they remember this and they keep doing it. And whether they're doing it on a bodyboard or surfboard, whatever, I just want them to have fun and just be, you know, excited about the prospects that there's opportunity out there to, you know, live your dreams and to try this in other areas, because sometimes, you know, the kids can go in the wrong way. That's why we have it in Waimanalo. A lot of those kids are, you know, very underprivileged. You know, it's a very, you know,
where exactly is Waimanalo?
It's on the east side of Hawaii. It's right past Makapu.
Okay,
right
away from Sandy Beach. Heading north.
Exactly, if you're on that highway. And so you just, you know, it's not, you know, a lot of the people there are, you know, they're not well-to-do. They just, you know, they're just making ends meet, and a lot of underprivileged kids that don't have opportunities. So, you know, having a free contest and giving prizes, and it's the only way for them to experience the beach that they're, you know, and get them out and get them engaged in bodyboarding, so they can go down and do it more, and stay out of the streets, and stay off, you know, selling drugs and doing all that bad stuff that just kind of leads to nowhere. So that's something I'm really proud that I've, you know, been able to help out in some way. And I see the kids, the generations that have come through this event, and you know, they are really good bodyboarders now. They've produced some amazing bodyboarders. I'm not saying that the contest was solely responsible, but it for sure, you know, it has helped in some way shape them.
Of course.
And you know, now you have guys that are doing the first event that were 12 and under, and now they're pro bodyboarders. Kavika Kamai, he's you know, coming from Waimanalo.
Also, Kavik's is like an example of that crew.
He came from he started the youngest division we had.
Wow.
And now he's a pro bodyboarder. He makes money bodyboarding.
He is.
And he's incredibly talented. So
Shout
Shout
out.
out to Kamik's and his parents, and his sister's still doing it, and his sister's now 16 and under, and she came from the tandem, and
Yep.
so many other young kids have come through these ranks,
Yeah.
and just good bodyboarders now, and it's just really nice to see it. And I hope we just want to continue that
Exactly.
aspect. And one of the things is it's not just a Jeff Hubbard thing. It's like I draw from everyone in the community
Yeah.
who comes and helps me. I generate some money so I can pay for the permit, the insurance, and Ben Severson to come down and pick up all his gear so we can have the event. And then
Yeah.
everyone else is volunteers. Everyone's volunteering their time to judge, to set up, to break down, to MC, to anything you name, tabulate. I mean, anything
Yeah.
that contest needs, people are volunteering their time for
Yeah.
it. So that's what's so great is just
So it's
all
a
come
proper
together as a
community event.
Yeah, and everyone pitches in with prizes, pitches in for lunch.
Yeah.
And just people bring pizzas. Bomber brings pizzas. Landmark brings pizzas and just
Yeah.
or waters, and we have Jersey Mike's. Would bring subs for the kids. It's just
Yeah.
it's just
Sick.
really cool to see everyone gather around. And I wish more. Places would do stuff like this. I know it's not easy. I mean, I spend a fair amount of time organizing it and making it happen, and I know it's hard, but I feel like it's so worth it for the bodyboarding industry. Everyone comes together. It's not Hubbard provides prizes, and so does Triad and Science and Kicks and all sorts of bodyboard brands.
So it's a proper collab amongst the brands
Yeah.
as well on Oahu.
Yeah,
that's great.
everyone comes together, brings some prizes down, comes and judges and helps
Yeah.
out, and everyone's everyone's happier. Everyone walks away
Sick.
stoked, and so the
Sick.
kids walk away the biggest winners. And,
Yeah.
we love that.
You also helped. Well, you were part of the crew that got the Garden Island Boogie
Yes.
comp done.
Yep, Chris Burkhardt and I started the Garden Island Bodyboard Classic.
That was the first year.
That was the
right?
first year. This was
How
the
was
first year.
it? Because
And
it
that was
looked
it
sick.
was sick. We was just much bigger than we expected. We wanted to kind
Totally.
of replicate what I was doing with the keiki contest, but kind of bring into another element where there's pros
Yeah.
involved, and also an older men's division where there's you can engage the whole community.
Yeah.
And it's not just isolated to the younger kids.
Yeah.
And we wanted to perpetuate the theory that the older people, or the kapuna in Hawaiian, that means teacher,
Yep.
for the younger kids. So we made sure the older guys, the pros, would surf first, the older divisions would surf first, and then the younger divisions could watch them and learn what they're doing and surf after. Even if the conditions are better, the kids get to surf, watch us and surf later.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. You're not throwing the kids out in the worst conditions. They get the best conditions.
And
They're
was
the
this
stars of the
was this
show.
communicated? Like, this seems actually quite strategically devised and communicated. So did you say, hey kids, the
Yes.
kapuna are going to surf now.
Exactly. Watch us. Yep.
And then you're going to have your heats.
Yep. You have questions, let us know. We're going to be sending, the youngest divisions, we were sending pros out with them.
In
So
the water.
in the water would be with them, coaching
Radical.
them on site. Oh, you need one, you want more wave 5, helping them through the transition of learning.
So
the
like
heat
coaching in the water.
in the water.
That is sick.
So in the water, coaching them, and then it's also for safety, but it's mostly for
Yeah.
the kids are fine. There's
Encouragement.
and coaching to make sure they know.
Wow.
That, you got one more wave. Come on, you can do it. You can need a 5.
that is such a good idea.
And so it's really cool.
I wish I had that when I was younger.
Yeah.
That would have been really helpful.
Exactly, and it's
Yeah.
really nice for the younger kids. And, the mid junior level, the 15 to 18 didn't need it so much.
Yeah.
We weren't in the water with them because but the younger kids definitely they needed it. They learned from it, and they grew from it. And I think if you do that every year, and the more people that can get in the water with them,
That's
the
sick.
the more pros that are in the water with them, the better.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And then also we charged a real minimal entry fee, like $25. So all the older guys came down and entered the open men's, and it was the biggest division. The open men's was we had like 60, 70 people in the open men's. 6-man heats, just crazy. It was unreal, and because everyone bodyboard was bigger maybe a while ago, or maybe it's more popular. Let's not say bigger. I think it's just maybe more popular. So all the guys used to compete, and they lost.
Who are we talking about
We're
here?
talking
What are
just-
some of the names?
Oh,
Any ones that we can drop that
in
would be?
in the Masters division, we had all the Kauai Classic guys. Kyle Maligro, we
Yeah.
had Chris Tenberg, we had Chris Burkhardt, we had Harry Antipala, we had the top
That's
tier guys.
rad.
They were in the Masters division,
That's
so people
super
got
cool.
to see them. So that's even not even.
I
open
would
men's.
love to see them.
Yeah,
That would
and
be
you see them ripping.
classic.
And so then we have the open men's, and that was just kind of the middle generation, the Boogie Nation crew, Everyone remembers that Boogie Nation generation, and which is kind of around the same No Friends time.
Yeah.
And so that had a lot of people that, like late 20s to like late 30s that were entering this open mins and just stoked to be entering with their friends again. Because that's the vibe. It's come down with your friends.
Yeah.
Have fun at the beach with your posse.
Yeah.
Go out and surf a heat. Maybe you get to surf a few heats if you're doing good. You get to surf some good waves or bad waves. I don't think anyone really cared about the waves.
Yeah.
They're just there to hang with their friends. At the beach, you get a good vibe. Your family's down there, or you're just cruising, and it was like they missed that there because there's a big serious disconnect between competing and at a professional level like we are doing here and what people are able to do at home. There's not many opportunities for people just to put on a jersey and hang out and just with their friends and compete and enjoy bodyboarding for what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not at that age, you're not going out there to say, yeah, I won. That's not what you're doing at open mins. Like, you're just going out there to have fun, and hey, maybe you're trying to perform at a better level than yourself.
Yeah.
And like, I can do better, and I'm going to try and do better, and it's a more personal thing.
Yeah.
But it's not about any bragging rights.
Nah.
Which is really cool, and it's not trying to feed your family, just trying to have fun. And so that
I'd still maintain bragging rights. This is my character, though.
It is some people's character for sure. But it's it was really cool that.
Let's be honest. This is Josh Kirkland you're talking to.
That contest is
bragging rights. Always.
Bragging rights first and foremost. First and foremost. 100%.
But I think, what do you think the key? Because you're talking about some pretty serious numbers here in terms of participation.
Yeah, like over 160 for the Kauai contest, and like over 200 for the kids.
That is nuts. Like, these are big numbers for any event of any craft.
Any magnitude. Yeah, any craft. For sure.
Why did you get those? What are there any key elements that you can explain, or what's your kind of take on the why?
I think the main, a couple elements. One is that you try and keep it affordable. Bodyboarders notoriously just don't have money. Let's just
so $25 was like people can afford to throw $25 down.
$25, and then
they get a T-shirt.
They get a T-shirt and lunch, and a dinner at the end. You get your money.
Done. You're getting your value there.
You get your value there, whether you make a heat or not, and you surf with a couple other guys, and you hang with your buddies. The next thing to do is that you make the event a community-based event where everyone's just giving a little bit.
Okay.
If everyone can give a little bit, you don't go to whatever. Hey, Hubbard, we need $10,000 to put on an event.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I love bodyboarding, and I'm gonna die a bodyboarder, but I don't have $10,000 to put in an event. I don't have five. I don't even have one. Or look, I can do this. Here's what I can do, and then when everyone does what's kind of affordable, it is so obtainable.
Yeah.
And as a collective, put into something that to make the event happen.
Yeah.
And just in a respectable level. We're not talking like they don't have to. Don't have to have live scores. Maybe we don't have live scores. We just want, we can just tabulate.
Pen and paper.
Announcer, just beach marshal, rash guards, just some basics and making the event happen.
Yeah.
And make it fun.
Yeah.
And making the vibe. And we made it a fun event. We called it the Boogie Board Classic. It's fun. And
do you think that's a key difference 100%. If you're going to sell this?
I think it's a huge difference. People aren't all of a sudden like, I'm going to go do this. Intense event. I don't know. Is that
what bodyboard says?
It's like Boogie Board is just, it automatically flips your mind into fun. It just automatically is more fun. It's just like, and I'm not saying we should all be, we don't call each other Boogie Boarders, but it's
there's something in this.
It is.
That's why I'm asking. Like, there's something about this.
Something in that. It's fun. It brings you back to a nostalgic period of when you're a young kid boogie boarding. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna go out and boogie board, and it's cool.
Yeah.
It's fun. That's what it's about, and it's not, and it's an enjoyable, fun thing. And I think so. That's number 2.
Yeah.
So cheap, community, and that, and then we also made sure hey, for the pros. And then the Kapuna aspect of working with the kids. Yeah. That I think that had a lot to do with it, and making it, putting in the effort on social media. That's you got to put a little effort there. You just have to make sure that people know about it, and they know it's happening. Remind them. It's just it's not like you're just trying to convince them to come. You're just reminding people and letting them know what's happening and letting them know what's going to be going on in the event, and just simple, just keeping in their heads, and they want to follow it, they can, and who's supporting it, and trying to get that energy out there about the event. I think that, it is nowadays, that is something, it's the way you tell people.
The story.
So it's the way you create the story and the brand. So those are things.
Because the post-production was pretty good. And I mean, the mind-blowing thing for me, which maybe just because I'm a foreigner who I'm sure Kauai is a difficult place to film an event like this.
Or even to have, like 10, 20 years ago, you wouldn't be able to have an event with a Boogie Board Pro Division. There had been like so much stereotypes, but now the bodyboarders are older, that they run, they're kind of like, there's no one's going to tell these guys that they can't do something. Because they're older, they're respected, they're wiser, they've brought, they know that we're going to do it the right way. We're not out there to blow up the whole island. We're
exactly, but it's super interesting, right? Because like, it looks sick.
Yeah, the waves are good.
The waves are pumping,
quality
right?
waves.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow, maybe I've seen footage of Kauai in the past, I just didn't know what I was looking at because it wasn't communicated like, this is Kauai and this is Maui and this is, so it's never really been, I don't know any waves on Kauai other than this one now.
Yeah, now you know
and
centers and PKs.
Exactly.
This is on the South Shore.
And this is sick. Just to see it and go, oh wow, that's what Kauai does. I'm not going to fly over there anytime soon. I'm just like appreciating it.
Yeah, and these aren't even the premier secret spots.
Exactly,
these are just random waves that we just have our event at, and any tourist comes into town can surf, and no one's going to bat an eye. So it's okay to have
an event there. Yeah,
it's known, and
that's great.
So that is pretty rad. And we also made sure we had money for the pros. That was something we made sure we announced, hey, there's going to be $2,000 for drop knee and prone. Each division had equal prize money. The drop knee is equal as prone.
Cool.
Because Hawaii, the guys are pretty darn good at drop knee. And
it's really practiced. It's crazy. It's cool.
We knew we were going to have the same amount of entries, so it's not fair to differentiate one or the other. So we made sure, hey, we're going to make sure there's this much prize money. If we get the entrance, great. If we don't, then whatever. We'll make sure it's covered, and the guys have some prize money to win.
Totally.
To show up, because you still want to incentivize the pros to show up to help the kids.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is to help the kids, and you need some pros there to show them, and you want the guys coming over and to make the process better. So that was our little story with the
I think it's rad, and I think classics. I just love this whole boogie board. That always jumps out to me. Maybe it's because I like words and I like communication and I like the power of it, and I do think there's a building theory around that bodyboarding has this much more macho intensity that is maybe even too hyper now, and I kind of put that down to the fact that many guys, like bodyboarders, have been picked on all their lives, essentially by the mainstream, like, oh, why do you do that? Like, even in subtle ways, like, oh, you don't surf? What's bodyboarding? Yeah, exactly. It's a real thing, it's a real thing.
Bodybuilding?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Like,
but then, like, boogie boarding was this fun thing from the very beginning, and we all, like, the sport turned its back on that definition because we wanted to be taken seriously, I think, and that's kind of maybe gone a little too far.
Exactly, and we'll
you used it to bring it back. So where are we transitioning? What do we got?
We used it to bring it back, and now you see guys like who are also using it, like Jamie O'Brien. He's a surfer. He's using boogie boarding, and he's just has so much fun with it.
Yep.
And people see that he's having fun and engaging him, and he's getting so many more. People watching him, viewers, content. He's making money off of it. He's doing great. He's doing great making these podcasts and all these things he's doing. And that's because he embraces the fun of it. He tries to have bodyboarding on almost all his podcasts now, if you notice. And because he knows there's a market there that people want to have fun.
Yeah.
It's about fun. He knows boogie boarding is fun, so he brings that element into it.
Yeah.
He's not out there trying to be a pro boogie boarder and a pro bodyboarder. He's just having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And people love to see that. And so
are we entering a weird time now, because you've collaborated with him a few times, and like it's really, for me, to be honest, I look at it with I think it's cool. But then I'm like, ooh, is he using it? Is he leveraging is he leveraging you more than you're leveraging him, or are you just buddies who go?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, what is it?
It's buddies. He wants to go. He needs content.
Yes.
So let's just look at it. That he needs content. So hey, he wants to have fun.
Yeah.
So he wants to build content and have fun. Well, boogie boarding's a fun way to do it. Like, okay, let's go boogie board with Jeff. And so it's easy. Yeah. In the summer, winter, and he realized that people like this. He got a lot of And once he started doing boogie boarding, he just had so much more interest in it. So he's continued to do it. And it's something that I think anyone could be skeptical who's using who or whatever, but I think the bottom line is that we've gotten to the point that, it's fun, and this concept should be brought further into what we're doing as a whole, as a community, because we still are trying really hard to be super core and super hardcore, which, hey, we are everyone knows who bodyboards, how nuts it is. So, I mean, I stopped thinking like, man, do we really people have to prove to themselves how nuts bodyboarders going? Like, I mean, gosh, guys are people try to kill themselves all the time on a boogie board, and it's like, man, that's
I did my best yesterday.
Yeah, you did your best. Like, see, like, do people really need to like throw themselves over the falls of chokes into like death pits and like, Brendan Newton guys back in the day? I think this is, an example. Those guys were slab hunters, like Brendan Newton, like Chris James, like these really gnarly Australians.
Yeah.
If we just take that as a collective group, these guys are just amazing humans that would just throw themselves into oblivion, and they would ride waves. I mean, their wave skills were great.
Yeah. So great wave riders too.
Great wave riders.
100%.
And what they were doing.
So to pull this thing about the bodyboarding, boogie boarding thing, I think what you're trying to say, that bodyboarding's actually working here.
Yeah.
In a sense, like the competition's getting better,
Yes.
the level's rising up. I mean, I think we're in a bit of a parallel universe here too, though, where Chile is a bodyboarding nation.
Yeah,
I mean, ahead of surfing.
Yeah, the waves are made for bodyboarding here.
Yeah.
The infrastructure here, the government's making this happen. So the government is making this happen. That's where we all have to realize is that, you couldn't have this type of event and why the resources aren't there. The resources just, for an event like this, the government's not going to give the money. There's no sponsors that can give the money that are willing to like donate it, because it's a donation. It would have to be an absolute straight tax write-off. And hey, if you have a 501c and someone wants to like has enough money that they can lose, and that they can donate it and write it off in their taxes, they could do it.
Yeah.
And that's about it. That's the only way it can work in a real world. Otherwise, in Europe you can find some of this to an extent. There's a few governments, bodies giving some money, but hey, Australia, again, it's very the governments aren't really frivolous there either. There's an event there, and there's some events there which are awesome, but to get funding to this level is really difficult.
No,
I mean,
people
it's significant, and the resources that it's taken. I mean, you see the staff here too. They're all bodyboarders working. That is something I really love. Like, you're hiring bodyboarders to you're paying bodyboarders to do work, and that cycle has been perpetuated throughout Chile for many years, and you see it, and it's still grown. There's there's just something to that. Like, you want to be making sure you're paying bodyboarders to do the bodyboarding work.
Exactly.
Just keeping it within the industry.
So with the boogie board, bodyboard thing, like, do you think we should call this boogie boarding, or do you think boogie boarding is this thing we use on the kind of the level of entry, and we actually embrace it a bit more there? Like, do you think it'd make any meaningful difference if we called it the World Boogie Boarding Association and we just fully embraced?
It fully might.
Oh, you think it might?
It might. I'm not saying it. I wouldn't I wouldn't say. I don't think it would. I wouldn't think it would have a negative effect. That's for sure.
So you think it could only possibly have a
positive effect? I think it only could possibly have a positive effect, and it might. It fully might. Like, I have to really think about it. But I know, just if everyone were really focused on boogie board, like made sure, anything else, just people go boogie boarding. That's what they do when they go to the shore break and just play around. They're going boogie boarding, and make it sound so fun and meaningful, like meaningful fun.
Yeah.
Not just like not that they're just doing it. I don't know. They're just going out there with a purpose because they're going to have fun, with that board.
Yeah, cool. All right, you heard it from Jeff Hubbard. That's his take.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to dive back to your regime, Jeff Hubbard. When was the last world title that you won?
2000.
My history's not that good.
212.
That was the famous year with Winnie.
Winnie and I going for the world title.
Exactly, Fronton was the final event.
Fronton, the final event.
Okay. But that was your last world title, so you've got three of them in the bag, right?
Yeah, the first world title I won 2006. That was the competition year, they called it. So that even though the final at Pipe was held it was January or February, it was still I still won the 2006 world title.
Yeah.
And that was my first world title, and I remember that I very distinctly like the regime I had for that was significantly different than most of the other world titles, I think.
Okay.
I mean, in most of other...
In terms of
like,
seriousness with your bodyboarding.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this.
So that was
what
like,
were you doing? What were you prioritizing?
Well, you just like, you prioritize bodyboarding over anything. There wasn't
Yeah.
any bodyboarding was life. There was nothing else. Zero.
Uh-huh.
It was just, you're going bodyboarding, you're thinking about bodyboarding, you're only thinking about contests, you're thinking about how to improve yourself,
Yeah.
how you're surfing, you're not drinking, you're just eating the right foods, trying to do the right exercise routines, just doing more, so you do, I was doing a lot of Bikram yoga at that time.
Okay, Bikram hot yoga.
Hot yoga just to get the fitness levels, and you're just constantly, I think is that a professional athlete at that time, there's more money. The sport was maybe even on a little rise with the industry itself,
Yeah.
and so you're treating it so professionally. I was treating it like, hey, this is my profession. Like, I get paid to do this. I'm gonna just put all in.
Yeah.
And my goal was, if I want this goal, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
And I just was gonna just do it more than the other guy. I mean, I think, I wrestled in high school, and I think the idea of pain and suffering will get you a result is ingrained in wrestling. And I think that is just whatever you do. It's just, hey, you have to suffer, and that's only then will you become victorious.
Uh-huh.
And it's probably a universal wrestling theory, ingrained into people's minds. There's like some crazy wrestling coaches.
So you suffered for bodyboarding to get the result.
Yeah, you just know I have to suffer. I have to do harder than the other guy. I have to wake up and do more. If I want this, I have to be willing to go the extra mile. Like, hey, you lose an event, you're up the next day surfing. You doesn't care how, what happened, what the waves are like. You're up crack of dawn. You lost the world title. And then I guess I could put that into like 2012 too, like 2011, lost the world title. Okay, I was surfing fronton the next day. The year had not stopped for me. I was there. Okay, what's up? What's next? I'm going. Okay, I didn't stop. Like 2011 and 12 was like one whole, even those 2 years, like one competitive year for me because I didn't stop once. I remember. And so, I mean, you just push yourself. Like you hear a lot of competitors always talking about, I'm going to take a break, take a break and refocus and refresh myself and come back stronger. But sometimes there is no stopping. You just go from strength to strength. You just get stronger. I'm just saying there's that other mentality, like, and it can work. Obviously everyone's different and goes two ways, but that's how some of the mentalities I took. And like, so my fitness level was pretty good. I mean, I did swimming. I did a lot of swimming that year too, like running, and never did running, but I would do swimming. Yep. I remember, and like, I just remember focusing in 2006 a lot more.
What about it? Was there personal sacrifice though? Were there significant consequences to this level of focus?
Oh yeah, your relationships or there is no relationship. You're just doing you.
So you need to have if you're in a relationship and you're chasing this kind of dream, if you want to sustain a relationship, you got to figure that out, right?
Totally,
or are they
exactly.
incompatible?
Oh, I'd say they're incompatible. At some level, you have to give. There's no, you're doing all this. You have to, if you want to chase it, you have to give. The other person's giving too, the whole time. So where are you going to give?
Yeah.
And to try and make this work.
Yeah.
So I mean, I remember like in 2000, 2013, like I was that was like pretty impressive. Like we had like the tour ended, and I remember just like, oh, this is kind of like it just stopped. I remember in 2012 I was the world champ. In 2013 I was like second in the world. Ben and Maz were tied for first.
That's
and then it just stopped. It like in June the contest finished. There's no other contest, so you're just like.
This is when the IBA just
died, and you're waiting. I was at Fronton, went to train early to Fronton. There's going to be this last event, and I'm in Fronton. They just can't call it off. I was like, you're like, oh, well, shoots. And you're like, life's on. You just like turn, and I think for me, like, I really started my have a different life from that point on, because I was like, well, I can't count on this industry and like to be, I just started Hubbard and I was like funding myself, which was great. And I was super comfortable with that, but I was like, well, hey, if there's not going to be money in bodyboarding from events, well, I'm just going to put some of this energy that I'm putting into bodyboarding into a relationship. And I had met my wife during that 2013 year, so it was really nice that the thing stopped because I was able to have a relationship, begin a relationship, and since then it's sustained. And I mean, in some of the things you find, like, hey, you know, if I had won a certain event at that stage, maybe if I had won pipe that year instead of got second to Ben, like, it's just like over like one wave choice basically in that event, you know, like, oh, I just went for one wrong move and I would have won the event, or like just something simple, like a super, and like, oh, that I probably wouldn't have had a relationship that year. I would have totally just been, yep, I'm all in on this world title, like, just, and you're talking about having a life over points. It's really interesting. You're like, you start to really think about that at that stage, like, oh, I know what I would have done and what I was going to do, and like, well, and since that didn't happen, I was able to, like, you know, I knew the IBA was in shambles, so I was like able to, like, put a lot of focus on a relationship, and it was really nice, and that it was able to sustain me for a while. And I was able to, like, hey, I'm gonna take some time off 2014. I knew, I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying this relationship. Yeah. So I don't need to, bodyboarding's kind of the sport of it's, you know, disarray. There's no guarantee it's gonna be around. Let's try and, you know, something else is really exciting. So let's make sure I put my energy into that.
It's super interesting to hear this, because for me, it's like, I just hear alarm bells in my mind, you know. I'm like, wow, so the way you've described it is that it's practically impossible to sustain a meaningful relationship on equal terms if you're chasing a thing like a world title.
Totally.
And is that a consequence of, because I mean, other people who chase world titles in other sports,
look at McManning, same thing.
Yeah, right. You think you'd say the attribution is similar?
100%.
Like, yeah, the focus.
You know, if you know, he doesn't share his personal life too much, and I'm not one to share it. I don't know Mick, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty similar.
Yeah, you see the same parallels with you.
Parallels, you know, you see all the guys. Everyone has to sacrifice more than their, you know.
So in many ways, like, the decline of bodyboarding on the competitive level
was a blessing for me.
That's what for you, yeah.
For my relationship, I have a daughter, I have a wife. I'm just so stoked with life. Life is great. Like, I'm super happy where I'm at, and like, and in going for in my brand, you know, I'm able to put more emphasis in that. Yeah. So it's really, really cool.
So for you though, then, I mean, the obvious question people ask all the time, and this is one of the things about bodyboarding, particularly with someone like you. I think Ryan Hardy also falls into this category. Ben Player 2, Winnie. You're not going to do another world title run.
Gosh, I asked myself that. I'm like, okay, I come here and it's like, well, the sports looks like it's better. And then you're like, okay, well, how much would it take?
But you're not going to sacrifice all the good stuff.
Yeah, you're like, how much would it take? Yeah, you get a photo of your daughter and you're like, well, what am I sacrificing? Why I could not? I know the answer. There's no. It's a no.
It's a no.
It's a no. In the bodyboarding, its current state, it's a no. Hey, I'd have to bring my family on the ride with me.
Yeah.
And even then, so your family's on this competitive journey with you. It's fun, but it's not easy for them.
No.
They're not
hanging in a rig, or it's not going to be that much fun for them.
You know, there's only so much. It's not a vacation for them.
There's only so many empanadas you can eat.
Yeah, and chasing, you know, looking at the seashore. I mean, it's not just not a conducive environment. Having a healthy marriage and raising a child. It's just not. It's just like, hey, that's just what it is.
If the sport did have that, because, you know, there is a lot of talk about, and I'm not trying to plant any seeds or undermine anything the APB does, but we do talk about, like, how do we make this more sustainable? It's a constant discussion we always have. But I mean, if the sport was kind of, one of the things we've spoken about, basically, we had a meeting in Chile last week, and the idea of this kind of one bigger world title event, like at Pipeline, and you'd probably qualify and build your ranking through these ones, and then if you wanted to just rock up at Pipe and have a go from the very first heat, you could still be world champion at one event. I mean, that would be a different story for you, I imagine, where you could actually lead towards that one event, but it's the nature of a tour of multiple events.
Tours over the whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, the
sacrifices they are not sacrifices you're going to make.
No, it's just not. Like South American leg this year, 6 to 7 weeks? 7 weeks, I think, on the road.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just, you can't do that. One is unaffordable for a bodyboarder.
Yeah.
I mean, and even a family traveling for 7 weeks.
Crazy.
Even if it's your job, those Instagram families that go in and take photos of themselves going on locations, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that's so funny that they exist.
Even that 7 weeks for them would be too much.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you can't do it for your family.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's like I said, it's not something I'm willing to sacrifice, but I am willing to, put my life online and bodyboard still, like go out in heavy
you're
waves
doing that.
and go surf, a shore break pipe, come here,
Yeah.
I'm still like all in those scenarios where just like,
But
because
this
I love
is the
bodyboarding.
challenge, though, and this is what's really hard for the sport. And I feel sorry for the guys, because when Kelly Slater is a good example. When he wasn't on tour, remember he had the wilderness years. Every single person who won a world title during that period never really won the full world title because the best guy in the world wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I think that frustrated both the individuals who won their titles, because that must have been really hard, right?
It is, and
when the mainstream goes, yeah, but Kelly wasn't there.
For sure, every victory a lot of the victories I've had, the special ones are when you're winning it against the toughest guy. You're like, fuck yeah, like Galermi I surfed against Galermi at Pipe and Mike, and I beat those guys at Pipe. Like,
that's what
I surfed against Ben at Pipe and beat, those kind of scenarios where you're like, I surfed against the best guys in the world. There's no one better than in the world out there at this break, and I beat him.
Bodyboarding has a huge problem at the moment with that, because you're still ripping, and Ben's still ripping, and Hardy's still ripping.
Yeah,
and when
we love
Rollins is out
bodyboarding.
there, they're still ripping.
Yeah, we're still ripping.
But we've got this problem we've got this Kelly Slater problem that the ASP had at the time, I think, where.
And it's almost, I would say it's bigger. It's a bigger problem because it's not just Kelly, like you pointed out.
Yeah,
it's not just guys.
It's like five guys.
It's not just me. It's like a lot of guys really rip, and people always measure that.
They do. Like the public does this. They do it. I don't do it. Like
I don't do it.
I'm here, and I'm just like, I know that all the guys here. Like, we'll see how you go in this event.
But
it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to win it. I reckon you're going to put in a good show.
I just want to put in a good show. And
exactly.
Hey, winning would be a great.
Of course.
Bring home some money.
Of course.
Do something for the brand. But like that's the motivation. But like at the end of the day, I know like, hey, there's some guys here that I'm confident to say like that guy is better than me. It's painful.
Yeah.
For sure, it's painful to any ego. There's an ego. We're all bodyboarders. We're all competitive. We're not. We're all humans. We're not bodyboarders. We're humans. There's ego involved with everything. But there's a couple guys that I know if I paddled out at a wave, like he's probably better than me. But hey, I have a chance to beat him.
Of course.
I know I can beat him. But hey, I know this guy is probably a more talented individual at this moment in his life than I am. I'm okay.
We'll let the audience decide on that one. I think we'll let them decide.
I'm not going to say who these guys are. I mean, you guys. Everyone has their favorite bodyboarders, and that's what's great. I'm not planting any seeds on who's the best. I know who I like watching and who I appreciate, who's surfing I really appreciate.
Sure. Okay, well that's interesting. I mean, is there a part of you that it doesn't seem like it's a battle here? I'm trying to get into your mind here, but like, is there a little twist of the blade in the heart that you recognise you're not willing to sacrifice the family and the relationships, or put them on the line for a world title? Is there a part of you that's still there going like, I want to go and win?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a personal battle. I mean, I think that's the main thing. It's a personal battle. Like, I want to do this. Can I do this? I think when you get to an older stage, it's more like a triathlete. I think that's why older people are better triathletes in that sport, is because they're competing against themselves. They're barely ever competing against the guy next to them. They're competing against mentally, can I do this?
Yeah.
And how fast can I do it? They're pushing their own time.
Yeah.
It's not like a time, I got to beat this guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to beat this time. And if I do this time, hey, maybe if the other guy does his best time and beats my time, cool. But if I beat my time, I won. Like, that's their goal. Yeah. And that's, I think the goal as you get older is you're just trying to personally better yourself. You realize that, being better than the other guy, it's kind of a frivolous task. You're fighting youth, you're fighting a bunch of other things. You're fighting, hey, these guys, maybe that's all they do is bodyboard. I don't just bodyboard every day.
Yeah.
So I come here to a place like a Rico or Fronton or Pipe, and I want to win, and I'm just pushing myself to see how I can do that.
I would agree that a part of me is also realistic of like, I just want to do, I know for me the major thing is I just want to do something memorable here. That's my little goal. Like, if I do something rad and I get that kind of kudos where guys go, fuck, he's still got it. Yeah. Like, he can still do some of those things. I'm just like, yeah, fucking oath I do have it. I already did it before the comp. But like, it's like, that's kind of the way I approach these events. But I have to admit that the other side is, I just want to beat fucking Jared Houston. That's who I want to beat. I want that man-on-man heat again. And I want
it a few times.
I've had a few of them, and I've lost all of them. and that is my singular person I want to beat. I admit, you know, like if I can have a heat with Jerry and I can give him a good run and win that heat, I will be the happiest guy this week.
You're gonna come up claiming it.
Yeah,
like that's your win.
I won't pretend like I'm better than him, but I'll be like, I got him.
Yeah,
I wanted to get him. Yeah.
That's sick.
So I admit that.
I like that. That's sick. You guys heard it first.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Even though he probably says it every podcast, I'm gonna beat him.
I don't hold back on that one, and he knows it too.
Yeah,
so
I
that's
know.
good.
I'm well aware of that one.
Well, look, I think
Thanks,
we've just
Josh.
had a really good podcast. We'll see how the video went. We had a few ups and downs with the video, but let's see how that all goes. But the audio is sweet.
Oh, pal.
Good luck in the heat.
You too.
Good luck.
Let's
I
have
think.
fun. Let's have a good time. Let's put on a show for the viewers.
I was watching our heat in 2003 at the Chopu Comp. We were in the sessions. It was me, you, Rollins, and Cedric Dufois. And that was when you did that sick invert out of the bowl. And I remembered that, and I was like, yeah, that was a fun heat. That was cool.
Pumping waves. Good guys in it.
And so it'd be good to get a heat with you again. And
we might have one. We don't know the heat draw. So
but don't worry, I'm not going to be too aggressive. It's just Jared I'll be really aggressive with, so you're safe.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for listening. Sending in questions to Josh. I had a great time chatting with him, and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks, Hub.
Thanks, Josh.